Good evening and welcome. It's Tuesday, April 28th, 2026, tax time. And you're watching Last Week Today. We're a compilation of the most important stories of the week from both legacy and new media outlets. And my name's Chuck Black, and my partner in crime is Richard Gagnon. Here we come. Richard, you look like you're being interrogated.
The cops have turned on this real bright light here. The sun, they call the sun.
Wow, I didn't even know you had a window there. It looks bright and wonderful out where you are.
Oh yeah, I'm always looking out towards the window. I can always see what the sky's doing and all that. I can see my thermometer outside.
I was going to ask the temperature out there today, as per tradition, but it looks like it's a wonderful day out. Am I close to being correct?
Yeah, it's about 20.
Wow, that sounds nice. It looks like you're having a wonderful day. We got a lot of stuff to deal with tonight.
Okay.
You want to go into our first piece?
Sure. I watched, I'll just let you know, I watched King Chuck the Turd today in Congress.
What did he say? I didn't include that today. I didn't think he was all that important going to watch.
He's just basically a figurehead. So,
yeah.
And of course, he was pushing his environmentalist stuff, which Trump is not for.
Still after all this time.
Yep.
Hopefully, he's talking about something more interesting in the secret meetings that I'm sure at least a few of them were happening today.
Yeah, I think they're pretty well done with that because apparently he's off to New York tomorrow.
Okay.
And then he's off someplace else on the next day. So he's pretty much done in Washington.
Ouch. Well, let's see what shakes out over the next couple of days.
Sure.
Meanwhile, back in Canada, as noted in the April 27th, 2026 Prime Minister of Canada press release, Prime Minister Carney announces the Canada Strong Fund, Canada's first sovereign wealth fund. There was a time when the private sector did this and the public sector announced the bridge building, but not anymore. Anyway, according to the Post, Prime Minister Mark Carney has officially launched Canada's first sovereign wealth fund. He calls it the Canada Strong Fund because everything he does relating to the budget is titled Canada Strong these days. But there is some money behind it. The federal government has contributed $25 billion, and there is evidently plans to solicit money from corporations and the private sector. Now, as noted in the April 27th, 2026 Department of Finance post, also under the same title, Canada Strong Fund page, the fund will act as an independent professional crown corporation focused on performance, which sounds kind of like a platitude, but you know how government is. And it's also supposed to be a simple way for Canadians to directly participate in building the country, because the fund is going to solicit funding from individual Canadians. So you and I should be able to kick in 10 or 15 or 20 bucks into the fund. But, you know, on the other hand, at least according to the Carney Watch webpage, which I kind of like, by the way, the Carney Watch webpage says Canada's Prime Minister has made a lot of promises over the last years, and the question is always whether or not Mark Carney has followed through. And that question is open for debate on most of his promises, and surely it's still open for debate on a promise he only made yesterday. And for more on what's going on, here's a quick short video, the September 27th, 2028 Canada America Explained post under the title, Canada Launches $25 Billion Canada Strong Fund, What It Means for the Economy.
Canada just launched a $25 billion fund, but is this a smart move or a risky bet? The government just announced the Canada Strong Fund, a $25 billion investment fund to grow the economy. The goal? Invest in major projects and generate long-term returns. Supporters say this could make Canada stronger and less dependent on the U.S., but critics are raising concerns. because unlike countries like Norway, Canada doesn't have a large surplus funding this. Some say it could rely on borrowing, which means more risk if investments don't perform. So is this a smart long-term strategy or a financial gamble? What do you think? Follow and subscribe.
To me, that's a pretty straightforward thing. If Carney uses it out of budget surplus money, well, that's okay. But if he borrows from the Bank of England, his old job, or if he borrows from BlackRock or one of those companies.
Budget surplus? You said budget surplus?
Yeah, I know we don't have budget surplus. We're going to get into that.
The budget surplus is based on borrowed money.
Yeah, I know. There's no budget surplus this year. Carney also gave us a budget update today. And as outlined in the April 28th Government of Canada press release under this title, Government of Canada releases 2026 Spring Economic Update. It says Canada strong for all again. But according to this, Carney at least tried to follow through with some of his promises. He will pass this budget. He is a majority government now. Let me see if I can pull this up. There's been a lot of commentary on X about the budget. Let me see if I can pull out some information on it. The budget just came out after 4:00, and I haven't quite had enough time to go through it. It's like 300 or 400 pages. It's scary. That's what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to. If you're a journalist, you're not supposed to look too closely. You're supposed to follow the press release. But here's what some of the people said on X. Marty up north mentioned that things are so bad, it's barely worth analyzing. The revised budget still is a $66.9 billion additional debt. The debt will go down a little bit, but there's nothing under $60 billion for the next 7 or 8 years, it looks like. So we're going to be cranking out the bank loans, I think. Here's something: revised budget deficit at $66.9 billion. It went down from 78 initially. So Carney has this incredibly wild number, and then he moved it down $10 billion. And the suggestion from CBC Watcher is that they are using the money to ward off a big recession expected over the next little while. They don't expect runaway inflation. That's why they're spending so much money. And Carney is expecting extra revenue from high oil prices. So that's some of the things that they're looking for. This thing I liked, Mark Nixon said, no real details about anything. The numbers have no context. They're not really attached to anything. We won't really know what the budget is until it's all been spent. But, he's got a majority budget now. We'll talk about the budget again next week once some of this stuff has sunk in. But right now, I think it's just a press release. I think it doesn't mean anything. The real business in the Carney government is going on in other areas, and there's a whacking huge deficit for the next 4 or 5 years. Richard, what do you think?
Yep. Oh yeah. Well, I guess probably for the last 20 years, anytime they talk about budget, it's always going to be just wasteful spending, and of course, just talk about trying to rein in the budget and all that. No, that ain't going to happen.
No, I sort of agree, and more to the budget is being paid to maintain to pay off the budget from 10 and 15 and 20 years ago, especially 6 years ago when Trudeau went crazy with the COVID budget and everybody got paid $2,000 a month to sit home and watch television.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and now they're trying to collect that back.
Yeah, they're trying to claw it back. I don't think they're ever really going to succeed. Do you think they're going to succeed?
Nope, they won't, because people said, well, you gave it to me, that's it, it's spent.
Yeah. I think it's just so bizarro. I have no idea what to make of it, but it's the way the world works.
That is, yeah.
We have more stuff about Carney over the next little while. Curiously enough, none of it is flattering, but we're going to go on to our next piece first. Also in the news this week, U.S. President Donald Trump's April 21st announcement of a unilateral open-ended ceasefire pending a unified proposal from Tehran and the conclusion of discussions remains in force at press time. The move followed frantic diplomacy in Islamabad, where Iran has yet to submit any sort of a real proposal. Now, despite the pause, the U.S. naval blockade of Iranian ports remains in place, as, curiously enough, does the Iranian blockade of U.S. favored tankers. Trump has emphasized the readiness to resume strikes if talks fail, while Iran's fractured leadership complicates negotiations, but they got lots of rockets left, and they're certainly not out of the war yet. Now, Israel and Lebanon have also agreed to extend their fragile 10-day ceasefire for an additional 3 weeks. Israel in Lebanon discussions there, that seems to be the key to getting everybody to the table. The talks mediated by the U.S. aim to create conditions for a lasting security agreement, which is, legalese for they're trying to figure out a way so Israel won't attack Lebanon again. Now, while the U.S. mediated extension offers breathing room, there's a lot of strikes, a lot of deadly strikes. There's a lot of clashes in southern Lebanon, a lot of warfare persisting as of press time. And these small-scale battles certainly test the truth. Both sides continue direct negotiations under U.S. oversight, with Lebanon emphasizing their state's sovereignty over all its territory. My understanding from the Israeli side is they'd like a little piece of Lebanon all to themselves, but I don't think Lebanon's going to do that. But here's what I think is the big news. This is the part that surprised me. It just came out today. The United Arab Emirates, one of the largest OPEC oil producers, has decided to leave OPEC beginning May 1st. That's only 4 days away. And as outlined in the April 28th, 2026 CTV News post, what will UAE's exit from the oil cartel mean for global markets? The Emirates decision, well, it comes as the country has pushed back against OPEC production quotas in recent years and developed frostier relations with Saudi Arabia, which is essentially OPEC's de facto leader. And this is according to the Associated Press. Now, the United Arab Emirates also believed the quotas were too low, which prevented it from selling more of its oil to the world. Saudis are very much into higher priced, lower production of oil. They think it'll help them more over the long term. I think it's worth noting that Angola, Ecuador, and Qatar, which is also in the Middle East, have left OPEC in recent years. Indonesia suspended its membership a while back in 2016. But the Emirates is also exploring the possibility of selling its oil in currencies other than the US dollar. Now, as outlined in the April 28th Gulf News Post under the title, "Why Did UAE Decide to Exit OPEC?" Government officials, industry experts reveal reasons behind the move. This is an industry publication. And they think the move is part of a broader trend towards de-dollarization in the global oil market. The UAE aims to diversify its economic partnerships and reduce its reliance on the American dollar, the greenback. Now, recent discussions indicate that the Emirates may consider local currencies for oil transactions, particularly in light of geopolitical tensions and the potential for increased oil trade with countries like China and Russia. This to me means that it's a defeat for US President Donald Trump, who, if nothing else, wants all the oil to continue to be traded in American dollars. This shift will certainly reshape the dynamics of the international oil trade. It will enhance the UAE's strategic position in global energy markets. And frankly, when all the words are out of the way, it'll fuck up everything. What do you think, Richard?
Yeah, well, of course, Trump wants to keep everything paid in Yankee bucks, Petro bucks, but that's I've known that was going to go by the wayside for a long time. And now that the countries are breaking up their alliances, they're going to be able to do whatever they want.
Yes. What the Americans can do, I mean, everybody else has figured out they're going to be allowed to do as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
that's the biggest thing. I mean, I've known that we needed to be completely off the petrobuck for a long time.
Yeah.
And now that it's starting to happen, I want to see it complete.
That's probably a good thing, but don't you think that'll harm the Americans?
Oh, probably, but they're adapting anyways. So
I sometimes think they feel they might benefit from it because they're mostly oil self-sufficient, and these days I think they're one of the world's largest exporters of oil, aren't they?
Yeah, they claim to be, yeah.
All that fracking.
Yeah. But then, of course, all that Venezuelan oil and everything else that they've got their hands on now too.
Yeah, the Venezuelan oil should be helpful. Venezuela is a pretty substantial oil producer.
But it's very, very poor quality oil.
Yeah, fair enough. All this tells me is that we are still in the midst of discussions. The end game isn't complete. Who would have thought that both sides would block the Gulf of Hormuz at this point?
Yeah, exactly.
But at least we haven't gone into World War IV yet, or World War III, or whichever war it's about. There's been no nuclear exchange.
Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe that's I don't know. Maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah, we'll see.
Shall we go on to our next piece?
Oh, absolutely.
This one you'll like. This is one I came across by accident over the last little while. And it started several years ago. It started with posts like the December 3rd, 2023 Car Voice post. This is an auto enthusiast magazine. And it was titled, "Your Privacy at Risk. Kill Switch in All New Cars Sold After 2026." And this is all about a US-based law expected to come into force this year that will require every American vehicle sold after 2026 to have a kill switch that can shut down the engine remotely. Now, in the US, the legislature is called the 2021 Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. And it includes a provision, Section 24220, that mandates new passenger vehicles must be equipped with what they call advanced impaired driving prevention technology by 2026. Now, this scares me a little bit, but the American government seems to think maybe it's not all that bad. They argue that while the AI in the car will be able to decide if a driver is too incapacitated or inebriated to drive, the US legislation does not explicitly require a remote kill switch that can be accessed by law enforcement officials or third parties. But to me, it's still the law giving government the ability, either directly or through an AI embedded in the car, to turn off your car engine whenever the hell it feels like it. Now, I checked. I really did. While Canada doesn't seem to have a directly equivalent set of regulations, most Canadian cars on the road up here are made in either Canada and or the United States, and they're made to US specifications. So Canada is going to get the kill switch too. And as of now, the US National Highway Traffic Safety Administration reports that while significant advances have been made in impairment detection technologies, none have been implemented in production vehicles that meet the requirements set forth in the legislation. They say this indicates that the technology necessary for effective kill switches is not yet in widespread use, but there are acres and acres of independent commentators who say the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration is lying through their teeth. Certainly, the legislation has not been updated or pushed out as would be the case if there actually was problems with the implementation. Now, the legislation is the latest in a long line of mostly American legislation. I'm told there's European examples of this as well. But this is legislation seemingly intended for safety, but in actuality, it's confusing and restrictive of freedom. Basically, if you're the driver, you should have control over your car. I also note that it's generally considered to be a step on the way. That my old friend James Corbett, the May 18th, 2025 Corbett Report story on the strange but true story of how smoking bans paved the way for global government. Talks about kill switches in the cars, talks about what's going on down there, talks about how everything is such a logical, sensible progression from the initial legislation, the initial smoking bans. Now, the story is also part of a larger story on something called connected visible vehicle architecture. This is what the auto companies call kill switches, connected vehicle architecture. And this sounds harmless until you learn about it. And the best description I found of connected vehicle architecture is the March 5th, 2026 Motor Truth on YouTube post, The End of Ownership, Why Mechanics Beg You to Avoid 2026 Cars. Here we go.
Something's happening to car ownership that nobody's talking about openly. Mechanics across the country are quietly warning their most loyal customers to hold off on buying 2026 models, not because of reliability issues or recalls, but because of what's buried in the software. The traditional relationship between you and your vehicle is being dismantled piece by piece, and by 2026, you might not actually own your car in any meaningful sense, even after you've paid off every cent of that loan. Walk into any dealership today and you'll notice something strange. Salespeople are pushing leases harder than they ever have before. Finance managers are extending loan terms to 7 or 8 years without batting an eye. And the conversation around ownership has shifted in a way that should make you uncomfortable. This isn't just about monthly payments or interest rates anymore. The entire framework of what it means to own a vehicle is being rewritten, while most buyers are distracted by heated seats and 0% financing offers. Let me explain what's really going on here. Starting with model year 2026, every major manufacturer is implementing what they're calling connected vehicle architecture, which sounds harmless enough until you read the fine print. This system gives manufacturers unprecedented control over vehicle functions through over-the-air updates, remote diagnostics, and what they describe as safety monitoring. Sounds reasonable on the surface, except these same systems can disable features you paid for, restrict where and how you drive, and collect data about every single trip you take. Toyota, Ford, GM, and Stellantis have all filed patents in the last 18 months for systems that can remotely limit vehicle speed, restrict geographic boundaries, and even prevent the engine from starting based on factors they determine. They frame this as theft prevention and safety enhancement, but the implications go far beyond stolen vehicle recovery. Insurance companies are already partnering with manufacturers to access this data, and several states are exploring programs that would tie vehicle functionality to compliance with various regulations. Here's where it gets uncomfortable. These aren't theoretical possibilities buried in some obscure patent filing. Several luxury brands have already implemented subscription services for features like heated seats, advanced cruise control, and performance modes. You paid $40,000 for a car that has heated seats physically installed, but unless you pay a monthly fee, those seats won't heat. The hardware is there, you financed it, but the software decides whether you can use it. BMW tried this a few years ago and faced massive backlash, so they backed off, temporarily. Now they're trying again with different messaging, and other manufacturers are watching closely to see if consumers will accept it this time. The strategy is simple. Introduce it gradually, normalize it with premium features first, then expand it to basic functionality once people stop paying attention. The 2026 model year represents a tipping point because it is when these systems become standard across nearly all manufacturers rather than optional on luxury models. Federal regulations are actually pushing this forward under the guise of safety improvements and environmental monitoring. The infrastructure bill passed 2 years ago includes provisions requiring kill switches in all new vehicles by 2026, officially for impaired driving prevention. But the technology does not distinguish between regulatory compliance and manufacturer control. Independent mechanics are already feeling the squeeze. Modern vehicles require manufacturer-specific diagnostic software to perform even basic repairs, and manufacturers are restricting access to these tools. Right-to-repair legislation has been introduced in multiple states, but automotive lobbying groups have successfully watered down or blocked most of these bills. By 2026, many independent shops won't be able to service newer vehicles at all, forcing you back to dealerships that charge 3 times as much for the same work. But the control goes deeper than repair restrictions. Manufacturers are building in planned obsolescence through software, not just hardware. Your 2026 vehicle might run perfectly fine mechanically, but if the manufacturer decides to stop supporting the software after 8 years, features will start failing.
Fun, huh?
Yeah, fun times indeed. And I really, I can see that happening. I mean, if I get myself a new vehicle that's got those features, those so-called features in it, I would have to work hard to find the kill capabilities of those features.
The last video goes on for another 10 minutes. It suggests that if you really want to maintain control of your car, you buy it outright and you buy something 10 years old or older.
Yes, that's the other thing too. Yeah. Don't buy the new ones. That'll get the auto manufacturers to smarten up.
Yeah.
Because I know I won't pay for having my vehicle owned by another entity. That's what happens already. Whenever you register your vehicle, as most slaves do, then all of a sudden you lose ownership on that vehicle.
Mm-hmm. And I've come across some of the other subtext in there. The idea that the car will be controlled by software, and the car may not have software updates after a point, so the car won't work. This is very similar to what's happening to this day in the software industry. Apple got taken to court and was forced to pay out a couple $2 billion because they were intentionally bricking their old iPhones so that they wouldn't work, so the owners would have to get a new one.
And Windows is the same way too.
Yeah.
If you don't get the updates done, then all of a sudden your computer won't work properly.
Absolutely. It's so bizarre. It makes you want to transfer everything to Linux and continue to use my 20-year-old truck and never give it away.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. And then you'll have to get yourself a machine that'll reproduce the parts you need to keep your old truck running.
See, I've done research on that. You can make most of the parts using various 3D printers, industrial strength 3D printers,
Yep.
3D sintering printers, or there's a whole range of these things.
Yep.
And I'm thinking that might be the future.
Right.
Yeah. But I don't know. The electronics, that to me is one of the major threats to our freedom. Just all these electronics that we carry around, and the fact that all the electronics in our house, in our houses, our stoves, our fridges, our washers and dryers, they're becoming more and more heavily electronics.
Yep.
So
not out here because it costs too much to run electric appliances here.
Yeah, I don't mind. Yeah, I mean, the future was supposed to be all solar cells. We were supposed to have our own distributed environment. We weren't supposed to be tied to the utilities, and it looks like the utilities are trying to keep us tied to them no matter what.
Right. Yeah.
Any more suggestions before we move on to our next piece?
No, I'm just very cautious about anything to do with this automation that they're putting in and these forced things that they're trying to put in. No, that's not good.
Me too. Yeah. I'm a tech guy. You're a tech guy. We both were in technology over a period of decades. We should know better than this. Anyway, here we go. On to our next piece. Remember I said we'd be getting back to the Carney government?
Yep.
In other sneaky stories this week, the Carney Liberals have moved to consolidate their parliamentary majority by reorganizing all the parliamentary committees, making sure they have majority control over all parliamentary committees, including the Ethics Committee, which will now discuss the Prime Minister's ethics violations in camera. They won't discuss it in public anymore. Which is sort of a terrible shame, because the April 25th National Post story under the title "An Ethics Report Just Called on Mark Carney to Sell His Investments. Here's why it likely won't happen." And this story notes that lots of ink has been spilled this past year about the quandary of Prime Minister Mark Carney's sprawling past business dealings, significant investments, and the massive potential of conflicts of interest. And a parliamentary committee in I don't know, and I suppose one of their last independent actions, unveiled some possible solutions this week. And then the article goes on to say that most of these solutions are very unlikely to see the light of day. Certainly, they're not going to discuss this in public any longer. Richard, what do you think?
Yeah, they're just trying to hide.
Yeah. I think everybody's corrupt. I think there are documented instances of Carney doing things that made millions, hundreds of $1 million for Brookfield. And just, I don't know. I think there is a grouping of mostly retirees and government employees who like the government because they feel they benefit from it. But I think that, Carney's making out like gangbusters. His friends are making out like gangbusters. I got the impression that one of the conservatives who crossed the floor to become a liberal last month, evidently her son is wrapped up in some sort of court case, and everybody is looking out for number one.
Yeah, so her son's going to be able to get off the court case because she's now a liberal.
It looks like it. It does look like it. Certainly, I'm not sure the specifics of the charge, but a lot of this stuff's going to happen. So it's any solutions? I mean, do we storm the Bastille? Do we elect the conservatives? What do we do?
Publicize it as much as possible, and if anything starts to go that way, we just start playing those news stories everywhere.
I would expect that all the juicy stories about Carney liberal malfeasance are going to go to the way of the dodo for the next little while. So I would encourage everybody to look, see where the money's coming from, see where it's going, look for patterns, and keep the government on its toes, because that's our only hope in hell.
Yeah.
Shall we go on to our next story?
Sure.
I don't want to be all that sad about this. This is something interesting. The April 18th, 2026 News Now post under the title, "Was Trump assassination attempt staged? Mega voices are now fueling conspiracy theories." This post notes the obvious. Mega narratives around Trump's shooting, he's been shot at multiple times, are taking a dramatic turn. And what I find particular about this is the growing conviction that many of our most well-publicized public events are staged started picking up even before the latest assassination attempt on April 25th. A lot of people have said that's fake news as well. Now, according to the April 28th Alt Markets US post, that's an independent guy who talks about business and politics, and he's saying the assassination wasn't staged. He says leftists are just evil. And I don't know, Richard, I'm starting to think that even talking about things that seem to have actually have happened, people are saying that we can't tell whether or not anything is truth or false. What do you think?
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. I can't tell what's truth or what's fiction anymore. It's, you just have to really be thinking it through.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way.
I know that all of these stories have connections. All of these stories have context. All of these stories seem to have things going on in the background that it's hard to understand, no matter where you are. If you're in the midst of Washington, or if you're in downtown Ottawa, you have a certain perspective. If you're out in the country where you and I are, or if you're in Japan where James Corbett is, you have another perspective. And a lot of people are wondering which perspective is the right perspective, or which perspective.
Exactly. Yeah. In my case, I look at it and I'll say, well, does that fit what I like to do? Does that fit what our community likes to do?
Mm-hmm.
And if it doesn't, well, it's not going to be the right perspective for us.
Fair enough. I don't know where this is going. I've had many commentators mention that the April 25th attempt on Trump seems sketchy in a number of ways. We'll have to wait for more information, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, from what I saw, okay, it was a potential attempt, but I didn't see any real success. But that could be a good thing, that the security forces were doing their job right.
He was taken alive. If there is a public inquiry, if he's given his day in court, if the connections that are obviously swirling around him come out in public, maybe it'll be something worthwhile.
Yeah,
I see a guy who ran a gate. Obviously, the gate wasn't manned well enough, but who was taken down, 20 feet from the door.
yeah.
So there was some effectiveness going on here.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I don't know. Next piece.
Okay, let's take a look and see what we got in the next piece.
We're going real too fast. This is an interesting one, and this is a follow-on to the last one. For those of us who don't believe in conspiracy theories, it's worth taking a look at the March 30th France 24 post. My apologies, I should have written about this earlier, but it just came on my desk now. It's on a murder trial involving Freemasons, French secret agents, and a whole bunch of other weird stuff. And it opened in a Paris court that day, March 30th. It's still going on, oddly enough. Nobody knows when it will clear up, but according to the Post, A Paris court on Monday began hearings into a major trial involving 22 suspects accused of murder. 22 suspects, murder and other serious crimes on behalf of a mafia network inside the Athenor Masonic Lodge, a big one in a Paris suburb, Putrets. Now, the 22 accused include police officers, former French intelligence agents, and very successful businessmen. Now, the Post goes on to note that 13 of the defendants face life imprisonment. So these are very serious charges against influential people. Now, those on the docket include 4 military people from France's Foreign Intelligence Service, 2 police officers, a retired domestic intelligence officer, a security guard, and 2 business executives, very successful business executives. And they are accused of the murder of a race car driver, the attempted murder of a business coach and a trade unionist. They're also accused of aggravated assault and criminal conspiracy, all on behalf of a mafia network inside the Masonic Lodge that they were all members of. And here's the punchline, Richard. According to the Post, almost all of the accused thought they had been asked to murder the race car driver on behalf of the French state, on the grounds that the driver worked for the Israeli spy agency Mossad. Now, if they can't tell reality from fake, what hope do we have?
Exactly.
What do you think about this? Are they just stupid, or are they hoping to get back into business, or?
Yeah, get back into business. Okay.
I mean, retirement's kind of boring. You want to do something fun in your retirement, and if the most fun thing you can think of is what your job has been until you're retired.
But then, of course, if you like the job so much, why did you retire?
Yeah, good point. And there's also the other viewpoint. If you're in security services, if you work for the CIA, if you work for French intelligence, you never retire. You just are less active as you get older, unless there's a good job.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
So I don't know. I think this illustrates what we were talking about in the other piece.
Yeah.
I've got one more piece on my docket. I hope you'll enjoy it. This is a fun one. This is a media piece. Alex Jones is relocating his show from the long-running InfoWars network to the Alex Jones network. This is at alexjoneslive.com or therealalexjones.com. And he's doing this because the Onion, a satirical news outlet that was popular 5 or 10 years ago, with funding from Bloomberg, has secured a licensing deal to take operational control of the InfoWars brand, the InfoWars website, the InfoWars studio, not their social media, but a lot of other related IP, though. Now, this situation stems from a long-running legal and financial battle related to Sandy Hook defamation lawsuits. A bunch of people at Sandy Hook, sponsored by government sources, I think, although they might sue me for saying this, sued Alex Jones, tried to get him off the air, tried to defund him. Eventually, they sued for slander in what I perceive of as being a kangaroo court. They won a judgment, several $1 billion in judgments for promoting conspiracy theories that the 2012 Sandy Hook shooting was a hoax. Jones filed for bankruptcy in 2022, and he tried to liquidate his assets to compensate the victims' families. But my understanding is that the Onion and its supporters didn't want him to pay off anybody. They wanted to take over the channel, and they wanted to make fun of him. They wanted to do things to ruin his reputation. But Alex Jones has always had a sense of humor over this sort of thing. So he put out a latest promo. This is the April 25th Darren McBreen, who works at InfoWars. Darren McBreen on YouTube post, Alex Jones versus the Gorn, the ultimate battle for the galaxy. And I think the logic is no one can make fun of Alex Jones as well as Alex Jones. Here we go.
Stop! Hey, look! You want to fight? You better believe you got one! I'm sorry. I heard they are putting chemicals in the water that turn the freaking Gorns gay.
I just love that punchline. The video itself goes on for another minute. Alex Jones gets beamed up to the Enterprise. He beams up to the Enterprise looking like modern day Alex Jones with a bald head and a beard. And then he gives a promo for the new Alex Jones channel. It's quite funny and it's quite creative.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Really good creative team.
You what?
Really good creative team.
And my understanding is that Jones has put some money aside, not on his own. Some of his funders have, and he's just going to move into a new studio next door, probably Thursday. InfoWars will be run by the Onion, and it'll be sort of joke stuff, and they'll try and get confused with the new Alex Jones network over the next little while. I don't know if that's going to succeed because love him or hate him, there's only one Alex Jones on the internet these days.
Yep.
Any more comments before we go on to the last piece?
No, that was a good thing about Alex Jones. So I like that.
I love that. It just I keep wanting to go back and see the other 2 minutes. There was a segment there where the transporter chief, who I think is the guy who put the video together. His name is Darren McBreen. He works at InfoWars, and he has one of the announcer voices that Jones used to always use. He was making time with Lieutenant Uhura.
Okay.
Well, Lieutenant Uhura was hot.
Yeah, I know.
But anyway, we were going to wind up tonight by I think talking about toothbrushes.
Oh yeah, and people, you're gonna love this. Those of you who use those wonderful electric toothbrushes, you're gonna probably want to throw them away after this.
Here we go. The April 25th Manga Minds on BitChute post, Mouldy toothbrushes.
I saw something that said that these electric toothbrushes harbor a lot of mold inside because it cannot fully dry from these little slots, even though I take it out and let it dry completely every night. Let's just see. Hold on. Okay. 1, 2. Oh, shit. Hold on. This will work. 1, 2. Almost. Ew. Oh no. Wait, hold on. I gotta put this down so you can actually see. Oh no. Look at that. Ew. That is so gross. Okay, no more. Done. Done with this electric toothbrush.
Yeah,
You?
I know. I've never gotten into one of those types of toothbrushes. I always thought, there's something wrong with this because with a regular toothbrush, it's tough enough to get it nice and dry between uses.
Yeah, and you can clean up a regular toothbrush pretty easily. You can tell where the wear and tear is and the crap is, and you can replace it whenever you need to. This one, you have to hammer it open for the electric ones to find out where the crap is.
Exactly. Yeah, and so as far as I'm concerned, that technology fails.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see it as being useful at all.
Those things are expensive, aren't they? They're like $10 or $15 for one of those guys, and then you have to buy the blades, or not so much the blades, the tips over and over again. They wear out just the same way as the other ones.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. So, people, I would not suggest that you use those types of toothbrushes. Story Oral-B. I mean, you guys should have been thinking about this instead of just the profits that you're going to get.
Somebody makes profits. I bet he uses an old style toothbrush.
Yeah, could be. Yeah, could be. Yeah.
I think that's all for tonight.
How about that?
It's what?
How about that? An early night tonight.
I thought we had lots of stuff to do, but tell me quickly what's on your plate for the next week or so.
Well, tomorrow is my travel day. And then Thursday, Friday, I have my shows. Actually, I think I got, Thursday's show is ready to go, but Friday's show, I think I got it edited yesterday or today. I can't remember. But I did manage to get it done. So I'm all ready to go for Friday also, as far as I know. Friday's May 1st.
Yes.
Time flies when you're having so much fun.
Yeah. Any good pieces that you're planning to broadcast over the next week or so?
Yeah, there's a couple of interesting stories that are coming out in these things. Because I'm not grabbing everything anymore, I'm only grabbing the ones that are interesting. Most of them are health related. Let's see now, 28. Let's just see if I can find the first. Oh, I've only got 2 stories lined up for the first, but that's okay. I'll be able to get those pretty quick. Let's see what tomorrow's story is about. Oh, I don't have it. I don't have a title on it. Okay. Yeah, so anyways, I got, but how long is it? It is looks like it's a pretty long one. Well, I do have a title.
Okay.
Wait, that's only 3 minutes long, that one. No, I'm in the wrong place. I'm in the wrong place.
Yeah.
Special presentation, it says it's only, I haven't got the right one in there. It should be over an hour long. That's weird. Okay.
That's all right. I got lost last week.
It's so frustrating because I'm torn between working outside and working on the shows these days. So, it's one of those things. But
yeah, I want to work outside too. It's more fun outside this time of year.
Yeah, I need to get outside. So anyways, yeah, and then of course I've got 2 stories: cell phone in the pocket or bra, and African DNA source code. Those are 2 stories I've got set up for Friday.
And all your stories come out sometime around 7:30 a.m. Pacific time.
Yep, that's when I go online.
Yeah.
Yep. 7:30 a.m. And the best to look for me on the Twitch channel.
Twitch podcast best.
Yeah.
As for, I haven't told you this, Richard. Remember, I said that we had to travel last Sunday, or 2 Sundays ago, and we were going to miss the Sunday episode.
Yeah.
Well, we never did that. So we're going to run next Sunday. We're going to miss the Sunday episode. We'll be on a boat transiting Lake Huron. We're going downtown to do some lake therapy for Marianne and for me to get a little bit back in touch with the urban environment I spent most of my life in.
Which Sunday is that you're going to be doing?
This is the one following up in 4 days, 3 days, I think it is.
So not May 3rd.
I think it is May 3rd, isn't it?
Well, May 3rd is a Sunday.
Yeah, it'll be the May 3rd.
Oh, okay.
I think Marianne wants to go out to dinner at a restaurant, which I think is a wonderful idea. I want to go into Kensington Market to see what's like out there.
Right.
And I whenever I travel, I enjoy having good internet.
Yes, of course. Yeah. So May 3rd, we're not going to do Roasting the Press.
We're not going to do Roasting the Press on May 3rd. We'll do it. We'll do the Tuesday show, but not the Sunday show for everybody watching.
Sounds good.
And as for Freedom Forum, we whoops, that's not what I'm looking for, is it? That's weird. There it goes. There was a glitch. Anyway, for Freedom Forum, we normally record every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on a variety of internet platforms, including the one you're watching. We republish the next day with notes on our Substack page at, here we go, chuckblack.substack.com. Everything slides behind the paywall after a month, so if you'd like to maintain access, you should sign up for a monthly subscription. $20 Canadian a month, $160 per year. It entitles you to access archive posts, anything over a month old, and also includes lots of in-depth stuff not covered in our regular stories. And it's fun. There's some really good stuff in there. We also have a Substack app to help you access Freedom Forum stories from your phone, and subscriber chat so you can tell us what you really, really want. As noted previously, my name is Chuck Black. I directed this show using StreamYards, which both Richard and I use and mostly recommend, but only if you sign up using one of our links. We get a little bonus out of this at the end of each month to help defray some of our costs, and it's a win-win situation. You get decent, good access to a lot of online distribution channels, and we get a little extra so we can grow our footprint. And as mentioned, the show notes will be up sometime tomorrow, and we will be back next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time with another episode of Last Week Today. But we will not be back on Sunday with another episode of Roasting the Press. I hope that makes sense. We'll see you in a week. Richard, did I forget anything?
No, I think you caught it all.
Thanks very much. I will see you in a week. Get outside, enjoy the weather. I know I'm going to do that.
Yep. Yeah. Same here.
Good night. Good night.